Thanks for being here. Thanks for
Yeah.
accepting the invitation to discuss your case. And if you can quickly introduce yourself, role, and introduce the company.
Yeah. So my name is John Aguiar. I'm based out of our Montreal office with IATA. I'm based out of Montreal office. I am the global service desk manager and IT operations. I work with a small team. The distribution is actually quite elaborate. We have offices in over 50 countries in the world. And our regional teams, there are 7 regional teams, in addition to the corporate headquarters here in Montreal and the executive headquarters in Geneva, Switzerland. We have regional teams that are active day to day in managing close to 2,000 users, which are our internal customers.
Okay. The company itself is really big, right? As I see on LinkedIn, it's more than 5,000 people globally, right?
It's not 5,000 people globally. We're closer to the 2,000 mark than the 5,000 mark, but definitely the dispersity of the organization, i.e., that we are in over 50 countries, that could be interpreted or viewed as a multinational, very large, very large organization. I guess that we're not 20,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, maybe is an attribute in that maybe we have some efficiencies. So we operate very well with a small army, if we can call it that, of individuals. Yeah.
Obviously, if you can call 2,000 people strong company a small one, right? It's definitely, it's cool. It's right. So regarding the use case that we are helping you with, it's integrating Jira with Salesforce. So can you tell us more about the use case? Why this need is there? Is it for internal or external use? So how do you use those platforms? What teams are using those platforms?
Right. So as I mentioned, the global service desk team, which is supported by other technical teams in engineering and application support. Our role in a large part, the global service desk team is really internal customer focused. Okay, that's on one hand, and then on the other hand, what we will have is a external customer focused team, which is our customer service group. We have a large part of that group based here in Montreal, or part of that group based here in Montreal, and then a larger part of that group based out of our Madrid office. So internally, our systems for ticketing, ITSM, etc., is Jira Service Management. We're working on the Atlassian platform. For external-facing customers, the customer portal is based on Salesforce software as a service. So the challenge now is, how do we get this Salesforce on one side and Jira Service Management on the other side, talking to them now in an efficient way? And clearly there are options to be able to facilitate that, to bridge that. Internal development was one option that we looked at, but then there are products in the marketplace that could facilitate this very well. Hence our discussions and our decision in some way to work with Getint and the connector solution that is there to facilitate connectivity between the two environments. In absence of this, what we have is a very inefficient system, disconnected system. Communication is very, very difficult or challenging, and we're prone to error, obviously, and inefficiency. In that, folks are basically, copy and paste from one platform or on the Salesforce side, copy there, and then massage it a little bit if you need to, and then take that and move it over onto the Jira side, in a manual way. Clearly, there's got to be a better way of doing this. The initiative itself is completely business driven, so clearly they've recognized that this is a very inefficient way of operating, and they're turning to us on the IT side to help them and facilitate the implementation of something that could bridge and improve the efficiency. So bridge the communication and improve the efficiency in a proper manner.
And that's how you started using Getint. So you were considering either custom development or using our application, or was there anything else that you were also considering?
Yeah, so Getint, and part of the reason why we decided on Getint is because we're actually using the Getint marketplace product for another integration that we did for Zendesk. So we have a local partner that is providing support for one of our environments. Initially, they were asked to connect into Jira Service Management through the portal. And again, it was a lot of copy and paste from the Zendesk side into the onto our side, and then work it through there. And then somebody realized, well, there are actually connectors available, and one of the connectors was the Getint connector, for which we had some exposure to that, and the organization that we are working with, the vendor that we're working with, also had some exposure to this. So it was a recommendation from their side, or a guidance, let's say, for a recommendation on their side. So we evaluated what the solution could do, and our way of evaluating that was actually quite simple. The marketplace has a very good approach, let's call it that, in helping customers evaluate these products. So you see number of downloads for the product, you have evaluations that are done for each of the products, you have a star rating that's there, for the products. And right off the bat, if you just take the time to go and evaluate it based on this, so what are the customers saying, or what are the users saying? Okay, you already have a product that is actually reputable, that is not going to fail. It's going to work. And then the second step to that is evaluate that against your needs. And if those two match, then you have something actually that you can use. So our approach there was along those lines. We had something that was already in place. We had something that we were using that was actually quite reliable. And in fact, I'll make a side comment on that maybe if there's a downfall or a negative on it, is that we set this product up for the Zendesk integration well over a year ago, and we literally forgot about it because it was so reliable, and there was no issues reported with it. So the tickets flowed back and forth through the system. And it was only in a recent issue that came up that some change had been made on the vendor side, for which we realized that the tickets were not actually working. But for the last 1 year, or well over 1 year, nobody was even thinking that this connector was there, that these tickets were flowing between the two systems in some kind of magical way. So the proof is there that it works. Okay, so understanding what the needs are, putting it in place, and if you do that, paying attention to your needs and making sure that the product is matching with your needs, the proof is there that the solution will work.
That's the best recommendation, right? To simply use it, see that it works. And I have this saying that the good tool for the integrations is the one you can literally forget about. It's definitely not your Instagram or anything else that you have to check. It just works, right? Nobody really has to bother. It's simply do its job in the background. So, and then regarding the specifics of this particular project, what kind of data are being exchanged between Salesforce and Jira? Is it a bi-directional sync, or you just have something created in Salesforce and it flows to Jira and that's it? If you can tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, it's bi-directional. It's bi-directional because on one side, as I mentioned, you have a customer service representative that is fielding queries or inquiries, or maybe even issues that are coming up from airline members or other industry members, and that's done on the customer portal, which is in Salesforce. But then when there is an issue for this particular solution that we're implementing now, first part that we're implementing now, there is a back-end support team that is responsible for investigating and resolving these issues. Now, we could have very easily said, you're going to now connect into Salesforce and you're going to help to resolve the issue there. But that's not what we wanted to do. Our ticketing system, ITSM solution, is around the Atlassian platform with Jira Service Management. So the idea was, we'll figure out how you can use Jira Service Management. The data is coming in structured and unstructured ways. I mean, in some customer cases or queries or issues, it's an attachment, with a video. In other cases, it's an attachment with a text file. In other cases, there's no attachments. It's just a simpler, inquiry. Still, in other cases, customers may think that the issue is in one area, but in fact, it's, in a completely different. So the customer service representative has a role in trying to assess and determine how best to direct that. Is that something that they can fix on their own? Customers having a login issue, for example, okay, they could probably do that on their own by helping to reset the password. But then if it looks like they've done this and then, it's still not working, then it needs to go to a back end, development team or support team who is going to be seeing or reviewing the ticket information in Jira Service Management and then taking the necessary actions to fix the issue. So the data is unstructured, in some cases maybe structured. I mean, but it's bi-directional. And what's critical here is having the information synchronized or exchanged between the two environments in a timely manner. Not so much for issues that are, say, lower priority, but if there are issues that are of a higher priority, then it becomes critical that if an industry member is having a problem accessing some area of IATA that is for downloads or uploads, that they need the information to be able to process something on their side, but they can't do it. We don't have the same SLA turnaround time on a P4 that we do on a P2, or for that matter even on a P1. So a 2 hour on a P1. Well, we have to respect the 2 hour on a P1 because the customer is expecting that. This is what they're paying for. This is what they've come to expect, and we need to deliver on that. So it's important that the systems are responsive and that we don't have too much or delays that are unmanageable.
Mm-hmm. And also, I think it's important to have those systems aligned in the matter of what kind of data are being exchanged. And both Salesforce and Jira, those are like different solutions, right? So I'm wondering how the process of aligning those tools in a sense of what's being integrated, the scope of data, looked like internally. So did you have like create some custom fields in both environments to store the data? Or are you using default kind of fields? So this alignment between the tools, what is supposed to be integrated and how to prepare tools for it, how this process looked like?
Well, maybe it's a stroke of luck. I'm not sure, but a lot of these fields already existed.
Okay.
So we did not have to do much in terms of customization and designing custom fields and custom processes around this. Having said that, what is one field in Salesforce is not necessarily exactly the same field on the other side, on the Jira side. So what's important there is to have a strong understanding between the two systems to be able to, it's almost kind of a business analyst role to be able to understand that, these fields, although they look and they're named this way, they don't actually mean, what's going to be expected on the JSM side. Fortunately, there weren't many of these, but we did have some cases where we had to go back and work with the Salesforce administration team. And myself, as a Jira administrator and our integration partner, to be able to identify what is the correct field when these come up. It's worth noting, though, that the information that is being exchanged between the two systems, it's not like there's 100 or 50 different fields of information. There are numerous fields on the Salesforce side that remain within the Salesforce side, and there are numerous fields on the Jira side that remain within the Jira side. But as far as exchanging information between the two environments, I think we probably have 10 or 12 fields that are the important fields, the significant fields. So if there's, for example, a priority 3 on the Salesforce side, we need to show that is a priority 3 on the Jira side. If we have critical information like a comment or an attachment on the Salesforce side, then we need to make sure that that information is moved over, correctly and properly to the Jira side, because it will be information that is critical for the support team to evaluate in their recommendation for workaround or solution, etc.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a question regarding the setup, because indeed you can have a lot of fields on both environments, but you decide to integrate and synchronize just a portion of them, exactly like you said, right?
Yeah.
So how the process of setting this up within the product of Getint looked like? You have no scripting, you were able to use just the UI, as I assume,
Yeah.
right? So how was the whole process of, let's say, mapping your business use case within the tool itself?
Well, surprisingly, again, it was pretty straightforward. I think, as I mentioned, when we looked at the other Getint connector product that we use for Zendesk, that was pretty seamless. That was pretty straightforward, and this was the basis why we decided to focus on using the same Getint marketplace product for Salesforce. And yeah, I mean it. I think we had the product the the product or the app was installed. I think within a week or less than that, we already started to see certain fields were synchronizing between the two systems. Of course, we had to go back to the logs and see why other fields were not coming across in a certain way. As I mentioned, we thought we were referencing the correct field on the Jira side, but that's not the field. So, what's the other field? What's the other custom field that we need to reference? And then after making that change, or for that matter, if it was the other way around, Jira to Salesforce, it was the same thing. But once we got the parties on the Jira Service Management side and the Salesforce side together, understanding based on the requirements documentation that was initially proposed and then revised as we went through the iterative process to develop what is the final. This is the final MVP that we're going to do. These are the final fields that we need to have mapped. Once we got the two parties together, speaking to one another and coordinating, it became very, very so. Yes, no scripting. The UI almost exclusively at this stage, in fact, exclusively at this stage. And we can see based on what we've been able to put in place through this UI, we have what appears to be a working solution, although there's still some things that need to be worked out, but we have a working solution.
Okay. And regarding, so apart from the product itself, which obviously is a crucial part of the overall decision to proceed, but I believe another one is the team behind, the support you can get and how reliable the people you would like work with the vendor is. So what's your experience with like people, the support that you received from Getint?
Well, I mean, from Getint, we didn't engage with Getint directly from the beginning. This took a little bit of time, and we needed to develop some knowledge around the product itself and to see how it works and familiarize ourselves with it so we could ask the right questions and see how to move things forward. But surprisingly, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. At this stage, I'd say probably not so surprisingly, because I know the individuals on the Getint side, let's say, a little bit better now. In any case, the reception actually was quite good. It was surprisingly good, very accommodating in terms of trying to understand what our needs are, and surprisingly very quick in turning around certain things that we needed to be adjusted in the environment to allow us to do what needed to be done. So I guess this is, attributed in part to, you have a small team, so they're quick, they're agile, they can react much quicker. Whereas if you're working with a large organization, then they have to go through paperwork and do all kinds of things and approvals and stuff. So, hats off to the Getint team for being able to manage the customer expectation in that manner. And of course, if this is the if this is the way it continues to operate, then I can see that that relationship will only improve. It will only get better. So
Thank you for
yeah,
the kind words.
very well done.
This is very important for us. As I say, we always build relations, and that it results in like building business. But it's definitely relations first, and the business that follows. Okay, so thank you, John, for sharing your experience and your expertise about how to prepare to integrations, how to execute it, and then how to maintain it in a sense. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next years of working together.
Same here.
Thank you, John.